How has the LGBTQ plus movement influenced education in recent years? Are traditional Christian values being pushed aside as a result? What are the consequences of these changes on youth culture and education? Welcome to the Conservative Classroom, where we're teaching the truth and preserving our values. I'm your host, Mr. Webb, and I'm glad you're here. This podcast is a haven for conservative teachers and patriots like you who believe in the importance of free speech, traditional values, and education without indoctrination. Each week, we dive into the issues that are plaguing our education system and keeping you up at night. Each episode, we offer common sense ideas to improve education in our classrooms and communities. You may feel like you're the last conservative educator, but I want you to know that you are not alone. By the way, if you like what you hear today, please share this podcast with a like-minded educator or parent. Together, we can teach the truth and preserve our values. In today's episode, we'll be discussing how the LGBTQ plus movement is affecting education and the challenges it poses to traditional Christian values. We'll analyze the disadvantages of liberal ideas and policies related to LGBTQ plus issues and offer strong arguments for conservative values, ideas, and policies. Now let's get started. The LGBTQ plus movement has made significant strides in recent years, leading to a greater focus on LGBTQ plus issues in education. While promoting respect for all students is important, there are challenges and concerns that arise from the liberal approach to LGBTQ plus issues in schools. Here are some of the challenges we'll be discussing today. Erosion of religious freedom, the impact on free speech and academic freedom, the consequences of early exposure to LGBTQ plus issues, the impact on school curricula, loss of parental rights, the impact on school athletics, the effect on student privacy and safety, the consequences of promoting gender ideology, the decline of traditional values, and the influence of activist organizations. Let's dig into each of these issues and see where liberal policies lack and how conservative values, ideas, and policies provide better solutions. First, let's take a look at the erosion of religious freedom. The push for LGBTQ plus rights in schools often conflicts with the religious beliefs of many families and educators. Many of these teachers are afraid of being ostracized, sued, or even fired for standing up for their religious beliefs. Honestly, it feels like the open-mindedness only goes in one direction. Conservative values emphasize the importance of religious freedom and respect for the diverse beliefs of students and teachers. Next, let's take a look at the impact on free speech and academic freedom. The push for LGBTQ plus rights can sometimes lead to the silencing of dissenting voices and the stifling of open debate. Conservative values support free speech and academic freedom, allowing for diverse viewpoints and respectful discussion. Consequences of early exposure to LGBTQ plus issues. Introducing these topics to young children can lead to confusion and anxiety. Sexuality has no place in the classroom. Parents should decide if and when to teach their kids about these issues. Children's books that push this agenda, transgender story hour, and drag shows for kids, it's no wonder a record number of children and young adults suffer from gender dysphoria, anxiety, and depression. Conservative values promote age-appropriate discussions and respect for the role of parents in guiding their children's understanding of these issues. Impact on school curricula. The inclusion of LGBTQ plus themes in curricula can overshadow other important subjects and values. Teachers, parents, and students are seeing more and more of this leftist agenda being pushed into reading assignments, writing prompts, and even word problems in math. To the many students whose morals are based in the teachings of the Bible, the pointless inclusion of sexual orientation in academic material causes a moral dilemma and takes away from the learning. Conservative values prioritize a balanced and comprehensive education that does not disproportionately focus on one social issue. What about loss of parental rights? Well, liberal policies often sideline parents in decisions about their child's education, especially regarding LGBTQ plus topics. Many school districts across the country have policies that children can identify as the opposite sex without their parents' knowledge. Conservative values emphasize the importance of parental involvement and the right of parents to guide their children's moral and ethical development. Impact on athletics. The inclusion of transgender athletes in sports has raised concerns about fairness and safety in competition. It's simply not fair to allow boys to compete in girls' sports. Many recent examples of men setting sports records in women's sports shed light on this issue. Conservative values advocate for preserving the integrity of sports by maintaining separate categories for male and female athletes based on biological sex. Effect on student privacy and safety is another important issue. Policies that allow students to use restrooms and locker rooms based on their gender identity instead of their biological sex can compromise the privacy and safety of all students. Concerned parents have every reason to worry about boys sharing the girls' locker room. This is a moral as well as a safety issue. Conservative values prioritize the safety and privacy of all students by maintaining separate facilities based on biological sex. Consequences of promoting gender ideology. The emphasis on gender identity over biological sex can lead to confusion and the erosion of traditional gender roles. There's nothing wrong with boys being boys and girls being girls. God made us different for a reason. Many of you have noticed that boys are discouraged from being masculine and girls are discouraged from wanting to raise a family. Conservative values emphasize the importance of recognizing and respecting the biological differences between males and females and the roles they play in society. Decline of traditional values. The promotion of LGBTQ plus rights in schools can lead to a decrease in traditional values, such as the importance of family and marriage. Sometimes it seems like our liberal friends are determined to destroy the idea of a traditional nuclear family unit. I can't see any positive outcome from this. Conservative values emphasize the importance of preserving these traditional values for the well-being of society. And finally, influence of activist organizations. Some activist organizations promote LGBTQ plus rights and influence school policies, often without the input of parents or community members. In fact, I would argue that our teachers' unions are becoming activist organizations. Sadly, those organizations that can't directly affect school policies are finding other ways to influence our classroom. Money, politicians, news outlets, mass media, and social media, for example. Conservative values advocate for local control and community involvement in shaping education policies. As we've discussed today, there are numerous challenges associated with the LGBTQ+ movement's influence on education. The good news is that we can do something about it. By promoting conservative values, ideas, and policies, we can address these challenges and work towards an educational environment that respects religious freedom, parental rights, and the well-being of all students. If you don't remember anything about this episode, remember this. Conservative values advocate for religious freedom, respect for the individual, free speech, diverse viewpoints, respectful discussion, age-appropriate curriculum, parental involvement, parental choice, and a balanced and comprehensive education. Conservative values also respect the difference between biological males and biological females in sports, in the locker room, and in the restroom. Conservatives want to preserve traditional values for the well-being of society. And finally, conservative values advocate for local control and community involvement in shaping education policies. Now, it's up to us as conservative educators to stand up for what we believe in and advocate for these values in our classrooms and communities. I encourage you to join the conversation and share your thoughts and experiences with like-minded educators. Together, we can make a difference and create a better education system for future generations. Thank you for tuning in to the Conservative Classroom. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Most importantly, share this podcast with a like-minded educator or parent. You can also connect with us on social media and share your thoughts on today's topic. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to teach the truth and preserve our values, consider showing support for the Conservative Classroom and your fellow conservative teachers by showing off some conservative swag. Visit our merch store at theconservativeclassroom.com. That's theconservativeclassroom.com. And you'll find in our show notes, there will be a link to our merchandise store. In addition to clothing and coffee mugs with our logo, name, and slogan, we also have items with just our colors and schoolhouse logo only, as we know it's hard to be openly conservative in some school districts, but your silent show of support may help you find other conservatives in your community. Until next time, this is Mr. Webb, reminding you that you are not alone. See you next time on the Conservative Classroom, teaching the truth, preserving our values.